You listen to people that's getting a check cut. Yeah, that's the only part of it that's worse than saying, so I'm not sure I can be canceled. But, so this Joe, right? He cancel me? No, he cancel you, mother. What's the name of the nigga that I'm associated with? Relevant. So what they cancel, they didn't come to cancel you, Mike. They cancel you, mother. I was praying to bring mask up. Right? I'll cancel you, mother. There was a weird encounter you and Sinead saw at a rehab spot. What was that about? Oh, you just was there. Yeah. So you and Sinead was hanging together, and I think Bobby Brown said it on your podcast. He said as soon as the cat wins, Sinead and you were at rehab. I really like that cat. Yeah, what's up with that? That sounds like a multi-part question. Unfortunately, I only have an answer for one. So, yeah, I spent time with Sinead. I'm often in the company of scary individuals. Just I love that. There's a safety and a comfort in being around me. If you're that type of person, and if you're that type of person, it's very hard for you to trust anything or anybody or any situation. So a lot of times I bring comfort in those type of situations. Right. Right, but we got that then and now. Like there are
Yes, ma'am.
there are no hero stories where the guy walks away unscathed. It's only experience, and if you can somehow put yourself in a position where you collect the scars.
No, you think about it.
I told Josh to bring him and he told me he ain't get the message. Which I know is a damn lie.
I never worshiped the bag, so that differentiated me from all of my peers. Like I know what money's good for, and I know that the more of it you have, the more useful you can be. But God has a higher standing on my list of things than the bag does. Why do you think we exist? I believe it's a video game. I said, oh, look, I was with my wife, I said my wife to death. Wow, this is an illusion. I love you, and I'm going to be so upset when it's over. Right. Yeah, I thought that, wow, I said that today. Yeah, we believe that this is, Matrix, my wife said the same. And well done. It's scary that everything fits together. Like, it would be enough if there was. Do you believe I was alive? When I read in the Bible that Jesus left home at 13, like, I'm thinking, well, I'm really his dude down here. So that's what I'll be doing. So I had I understood that I thought differently than other people, but I worked it to what its strengths were. I don't down Nick Cannon. Like, I understand. That's why I was saying I understand Nick Cannon's. Tell me about Nick. What's Nick's philosophy? Well, I'm saying he's getting a lot of flack from people. He already saw death. And when you see death, you only concerned about your legacy after a death experience. You really just understand that I've already reached these milestones here. What about 50 years from now? Where is my name coming from? Sometimes I like to see big shit. Sometimes they don't have a conversation. But I just try to keep my perspective. Don't use those words anymore because I realize that we're kings and shit. My dear read that to me in the Bible. We can die though. She said there's gods that can die. That's what my daughter told me. So yeah, I have to think of myself as a god that can die. a control missile coming in, exploding. Coming in from this side right here, exploding. The reason I'm showing it to you on this is because once you put it in a higher resolution, it's difficult to see, but with the naked eye, here again is the control coming in, missile exploding. This is going to be New York City, and you're going to see the water coming through now after this. Here are the buildings. Here are the buildings right here. See the buildings right here? Okay, you see all this ink right here that makes the unidirectional lines? There's darker ink in certain spots. You'll see. Okay, these unidirectional lines is moving towards the subject, which is us. As I change the magnification, you're going to see all of this. All of this is going to turn to waves coming in from those nukes that went down, and they're going to be destroying the city. Watch. There he goes. There it is. See it? See how it changed? See how it gets all fluffy? Boom. There it is. Buildings being wiped out. There it is. See the water? That's water. I'm going to go back and look. There it is.
These are my Pistons right here. Dominate, fellas.
And we've got some surprise teams here in the early season.
Some are surprisingly bad, and some are exceeding expectations. There's still a long season ahead, and things can change quickly, B.A.
Things around.
Yes, they have, and they made a big step forward. Now, there's a nice...
Listen to that. Or even Sam Smith, the singer who danced around like the devil, who said, no, I'm they and them now. I think, well, I guess your legion for you are many. Is this just demons?
Demons are influencing at the very least. Again, I can't diagnose somebody without meeting them and talking to them, but I'll tell you this. It's a mockery of God, for sure. Because God said, let us make man in our image. He's the only one that gets to use a plural for his personhood, okay? Everybody else doesn't get to do that. Even Legion, it was because they were many of them, not because one was many. And then, what else did it say? He made them male and female. Only God assigns gender. So this is man trying to become God. It's the same. This is the same story in Genesis 3 over and over and over. You know, it was pleased with the eye and looked appealing, and so they went for it. They wanted to be like God. And this is the same thing. When you think you can assign gender, when you think you can terminate life, when you think you can start life, that's not your role. That's God's role. So this is the greatest affront to attack and blaspheme God that we've ever seen in the history of the world. And when people say these things, you know, this pronoun thing, I think they believe it. Not all of them, but I think many of them actually believe what they're saying, but it doesn't make it true. It means they're very lost. They're very deceived, perhaps. And I feel badly for them. I don't hate them. I feel like, my gosh, how awful it would be to think you're in the wrong body. Right? It would be terrible. But I want them to be set free. Now, I'll tell you an interesting story. When I was a hermit, my superior was the exorcist of Omaha, and we had a deliverance ministry and exorcism ministry. It was sort of like the last call when you had a problem with the devil. If your exorcist couldn't get him out, we had people flying in from all over the world that would stay with us, some for a week, that one little nun that crawled the wall, she was there for over a year. It took a year. She was satanically, ritually abused as a baby, and she didn't know it.
Balance to their offense. You have to think with this Pistons squad that all eyes are on the future as opposed to the here and now. Young guys focused on...
Yes, ma'am.
So this man, this is long before. I was there from 2005 to 2010. So think about that. This is back when gay was the big thing, not transgender. And the mother of this young man said he wanted her approval, and she said, I can't approve of this. But if you go on a retreat to this group, and you really go on the retreat for the purpose of opening your heart to God, I will, if you come back and say you still want to be a woman, I will bless it. So he comes. So this is an intense program. So he's there for 8 days. 3 times a day he gets prayed with a group of men over him, right? And we're releasing images of what we see about how God loves him. And there's another group discerning on the side. We're lifting him up and asking God to show us how to pray for him. And then he's coming to Mass. And it's intense, right? Every day. We're not getting a lot of breakthroughs in the beginning. And then one of the discernment teams finally said, Lord, is there something we're missing? And the whole team got images of the Father. And we don't know much about who's the Father. Like, what about, because he had a father. So one of the nuns says to the exorcist, can we get permission to call his mother, who won't send him here? So sure, go call her. So they call her. What's the deal with the father? And she starts crying. She goes, I never wanted him to know, but I got pregnant before I got married to what he thinks is his father. But that's not his father. And then she got pregnant by the man who was married to her, and it was a daughter. And he did favor the daughter because it was his. And subconsciously, this little boy learned, if I want to be loved by my dad, I have to be a girl. But he didn't know this. It was all like subconscious. Right. And so when we finally learned this and then started praying against this spirits of diversity and division and all these things, we took him through him being created by God in a meditation. Okay, and now God's looking upon you, and out of his love, he's creating you, and he creates your little heart, and it begins to beat, and he creates your little feet and your hands, your legs, and then he creates your genitals as a boy. And the demon went insane, screaming, these screeches from hell like you could never hear coming from a human. And that was the signal, like, we got it, this is it. We went back in, took authority over that spirit, threw that out, went back to the creation story, worked through the whole thing, got up to the genitals. He received it, he embraced it, went through the rest of his body, finished with a closing prayer of gratitude, prayed a prayer of protection over him. He went home loving being a man, and he eventually got married to a woman.
Trying to find out who was in this Pimp C tape.
All I can tell you, there was a famous R&B chick. There was a guy that was getting money at the time.
From Mac Miller and Pimp C. Pimp C was found in the hotel in praying position with a bunch of blood around the bed, candles and so forth, right? That he was already dead for like a day or so, right? Also remember, he was in praying position. This is how they mock God. This is how they mock our God.
He needed to be tested for arsenic or poisoning. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't tested for that. And the coroner told us, you know what I'm saying? He bled out when he died. So from every opening on his body, so that's from nose, mouth, ears, eyes, you know what I'm saying? Every hole on your body that you could, he bled out. That's not natural.
It's no secret that the entertainment industry, while filled with a lot of good things, can also be considered a festival of some of the worst controversies. And in today's episode, the controversy in question is tied to Pimp C and Jay-Z. According to reports, it seems Pimp C might have gone in over his head after claims of him having a sex tape with Beyonce started to make the headlines. Because Jay didn't like that very much. And unlike a regular person that just confronts his problem, Jay, a former gang member, simply put a hit out on Pimp C. Didn't see that coming, huh? Well, brace yourself because that's only where it starts in this controversy. The late Pimp C was the American rapper and music producer whose sudden and mysterious death stirred up considerable media attention. He was discovered deceased in a hotel room in December 2007, leaving behind numerous unanswered questions about the actual cause of his passing. His untimely demise also sparked several conspiracy theories. Nevertheless, according to medical records, his death was attributed to a drug overdose. A coroner's report identified complications caused by his heavy consumption of purple drank and his pre-existing sleep apnea condition as the reasons behind his death. Subsequently, it was revealed that his blood tests demonstrated toxic levels of codeine in his system. Too Short, a fellow rapper and a close friend of Pimp C, who was apparently the last person to have contact with him before his passing, made some intriguing remarks about his death.
Right. And then they come out with the official. It was a mixture of some stuff, the prescription and something else or something that...
For those unfamiliar, codeine is an opioid. Opioids are analgesics that depress the central nervous system, decrease the respiratory rate, and cause cessation of breathing when taken in toxic doses. In simpler terms, according to medical records, Pimp C was a drug addict who overdosed on pain medication, causing him to lose consciousness and ultimately pass away. The items retrieved from the location of his death, which included pill bottles, powder, and alcohol, were used as evidence to support the subsequent reports. However, there is a reasonable possibility that all of these items were planted, and Pimp C was framed to make it look like his death was an accident. None of his colleagues or co-workers have confirmed his alcohol addiction or drug abuse. Additionally, he has never demonstrated misconduct or inebriated behavior in the media. His associate, Orlando Brown, commented on this matter, stating,
Yeah, we got that answer.
He never did lean around me. Listen,
oh yeah, so like I said, could you put Netflix on TV for me?
Red wine, a couple red wine like twice.
Game system.
Yeah, so that whole...
These statements clearly suggest that the evidence was fraudulent and possibly tampered with to deflect authorities' attention from the attempted murder. Many individuals believe that Pimp C's supposed accidental death was too seamless to be authentic. David Banner, a fellow rapper who was apparently well acquainted with Pimp C, stated that the music industry was aware of certain issues concerning Pimp C but refused to address them publicly. He said, "The one truth about the music industry is that Pimp C had some stuff that everybody knew but nobody was talking about. The stuff he referred to will be revealed later in the video. The public regarded Pimp C's death as a murder. One person commented, Pimp had a lot of hidden enemies and they wanted him gone. I miss Pimp SMH. Regarding enemies, we previously mentioned Jay-Z as being at the top of the list. What possible dispute could have resulted in one of the two being murdered?"
Who it is, but it's a real famous rapper and it's a real famous R&B chick, okay? Yeah. Pimp had a naked, he had a recording of that.
Pimpin' Ken, another noteworthy figure from the music industry, speaks in riddles in the video, revealing shocking details about Pimp C's conflict with Jay-Z, including Pimp C's passionate involvement with Beyonce while she was still married to Jay-Z. Moreover, the tension between the two men stems from Pimp C possessing a private video of himself and Beyonce engaged in intimate activities. To clarify, we are talking about a sex tape. Ken went on to say that Pimp C could have made a lot of money had he been selfish enough to release the tape, a tape that could potentially topple the careers of some of the top rappers and music artists in America today. While it may not have affected Jay-Z as much, it does make for an intriguing drama that we adore. In addition, Jay-Z and Pimp C had a pre-existing dispute over professional disparities. In 1999, both men had planned to collaborate on a musical project that Pimp C was not enthusiastic about. Too Short explained that Tupac was the reason they almost couldn't come to an agreement. Turns out, only logic for not wanting to be on that song was all about Tupac. He said,
Why do you say his name like that?
I'm not nobody.
He went on to add that he pressured Pimp C into agreeing by saying, "Just do it, man. Do it, do it, do it." People came out in appreciation of Pimp's stance as soon as Too Short's interview hit the fan. One of them said, "Hearing all the stories about Pimp C's stubbornness and hesitation towards Big Pimpin' makes me love him even more for some reason. There will never be another." To anyone, that specifically implies issues have been going on under the table for some time now, and somehow they finally came to rest at Pimp's death. But that is just one possibility. The other possibility is even worse. Pimp C was found in a queer state at the site of death. His friends that went to his hotel room told his wife there was blood all over the room and he was in some kind of kneeling position or praying position. Wasn't a lean overdose, he was murdered, said someone. A different statement came. In an interview, DJ Paul said they found Pimp in a praying position, candles around the bed, and blood. Fast forward, Mac Miller found dead in a praying position as well. They both got ruled overdose after a night with a lady escort or booty call. The condition of Pimp C's body at his funeral shocked those who were in attendance. Despite being an A-class rapper, only a select few were allowed to view his remains. It Additionally, the state of his body was disturbing and resembled something out of a horror movie, as reported by Too Short. He also mentioned that the casket was unusually heavy, which raises further questions about the circumstances surrounding his death.
Pimp C head was this big.
It's not that big.
Are you serious? Man, it was this big, dog. I mean, you know.
It was darker too.
Hey, his lips would look like plastic.
These details suggest that there may be more to the story than what has been publicly disclosed. There are rumors circulating that Pimp C was in the process of exposing a cult, which may have ultimately led to his death. As one person put it, he stirred up a lot of controversy with his Ozone interview calling out homosexual executives, fake rappers, and even dissed the whole state of Atlanta. He did not always hold inconsistent views on these matters. However, his perspective changed after he was released from prison for assaulting a female. Too Short, while reminiscing the time his body was recovered, said,
The door was locked and I just had to break it down, because if the door wasn't locked, that means somebody left out.
Right.
If the door was locked, that means he felt good, he locked it, he was in there.
Right.
There are also claims that Pimp C's death was a form of sacrifice. Too Short, reflecting on the recovery of Pimp C's body, mentioned that the locked door raises new questions. It suggests that his death may not have been forced upon him. The door was secured without any signs of forced entry. This could mean that Pimp C was a willing participant, or he was too impaired to resist, or the possible culprit escaped through the window. The third possibility, upon closer examination, implies that the likely killer had meticulously planned and executed the murder. This level of precision could only come from a fierce competitor who is intolerant of your success or position in the industry. Pimp C and Jay-Z's turbulent relationship was previously discussed by Jeff Sledge, Atlantic Records VP of A&R, who talked about Pimp C's perspective on Jay-Z after a disagreement on a music video.
I only gave him 12 bars. I ain't gave him 16, man.
The infamous private video of Pimp C and Jay-Z's wife is a topic that cannot be ignored. Its release would not only ruin Jay-Z's career, but also put his wife's reputation at risk. Jay-Z has worked too hard to let that happen. Based on the motive of competition, the risk to his career, and pre-existing professional differences, Jay-Z is the primary suspect in Pimp C's murder. The cause of Pimp C's death remains a mystery, whether it was an overdose, a sacrifice involving cults, or a hit orchestrated by Jay-Z. Regardless, the topic continues to circulate on social media and capture our attention. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.
Hi, I'm here at the entrance of the secret cave that goes into Disneyland. Now, if this works and it actually does go into Disneyland, I have an annual pass, so I'm not trying to steal admission. Here goes. It's kind of short. It's gotten pretty dark. Glow stick. There we go. That's a little better. This is supposed to come up on Tom Sawyer's Island in Frontierland, which in 1956, Walt Disney was said to have given it to the state of Missouri, and the governor of Missouri was supposed to have annexed it. However, the state of Missouri doesn't confirm that. So I'm not sure if we're coming up in California still. It's getting kind of dark, so I'm going to throw my glow stick ahead of me to make sure there's no sudden drops or anything. Okay. so good. I hear people.
of his next shipment. Who said? That was before you came through.
So we're good.
Long as the shit's proper.
Yeah, it's proper. Shaduchi. Shit, fuck.
Well, you got us down here, Bumpy.
You'll see.
Why we here, man?
Take a look. Made a deal with the Rizzuto family of Montreal for 300 keys. This should make up for the mishap with the Ducci.
Bumpy, came through.
One more thing, before I front you as much as you want. Casey, I heard we have a problem.
Colombo promises a piece of his next shipment. Wholesale. That was before you came through.
So we're good.
Long as the shit's proper.
Yeah, it's proper.
So apparently, world famous rapper Post Malone's life has been cursed and turned upside down ever since he played around in this haunted house and touched this demonic box.
Please pray for Post Malone. He hasn't been the same after this.
Post said that he thought that God hates him.
Close to an evil spirit.
Yeah, so this object that Zach Baggins has at his haunted museum in Las Vegas is called the Dybbuk box, and this goes back generations and inspired the movie The Possession. It's a really scary box.
Right, Dybbuk, by the way, is Yiddish for malicious spirit.
Exactly. So while they were hanging out at the museum, they took the glass case off of it, and the reason they have a glass case, Zach says, is because there is a lot of
so that's Zach.
activity with
so
that.
Zach is actually touching the box, which you're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
And then you see, is that right? You're not supposed to touch it.
Not supposed to touch it or open it.
And watch, Post freaks out. He's like, I don't want any part of this, man. He turns on the light. I love it. He turns on the light in the place. He's like, I'm not doing this in the dark box. So anybody who touches Zach gets possessed if you're doing it while he's touching the box.
Exactly. It almost went through him like
electricity kind
exactly. Electricity. You know what I'm saying.
As you heard, this box is referred to as a Dybbuk box, and it is Yiddish for malicious spirit. And one thing after another, bad situation after bad situation took place in his life after touching this box.
Post Malone took a jet from Orange County to London. The tires on the jet blew out. It spent 5 hours in air circling around in order to make a safe landing. A home in San Fernando was broken into by 3 armed men, but thankfully it was his previous address. He ended up totaling his car in a serious rollover crash and claims to have found bite marks on him.
Want to hear from his mouth himself? Check it out.
Apparently there's a thing called the Dybbuk box. The plane almost crashed. I was in a car accident. My house got robbed, and I had bite marks on my arm.
I don't understand why people play with this stuff. They think it's a joke. They think it's funny. People have doubt. They don't think it's real. And you start dabbling and playing around on the dark side, and you have a crash course, and you see how real
Look at this one. I
the
said,
spiritual
ladies.
realm really is. There are real angels, and there are real demons. And if you are not covered and protected by the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty, and you start dabbling in darkness, you are going to be susceptible to be attacked. Kind of like this nonsense that we're seeing in Massachusetts, where they built the biggest Ouija board in the world. For anybody who, for whatever reason, just might not be aware of what a Ouija board is.
I'll tell you, those finishes are always extra special when they come from your window.
Oh, forget about his passing. Can we see more dunking?
That just shows you the versatility. This guy can do a lot of different things for you.
Detroit has gone 1 of 4 from deep. So where do you see the ceiling for this younger Pistons team as they continue to grow?
It's always difficult to predict the limits of a team, but as long as they continue to steadily develop, they can become a unit with playoff potential.
Down low. Money misses. The Pistons trailing. Cunningham up top. Last game for him, he picked up 10. Bay outside. Back Bagley sets a screen. Launches a three. Mobley grabs the board. Bay's gone 1 for 3 on the night. Okoro on the wing. He's watched by Cunningham. Back to Okoro. Here's Money. They get it again. To the right side. Hey, expanding his range. The Pistons clear it. And this matchup with the Cavaliers, it's their first meeting of the season.
Every game against this team is so important. That's how it is in a divisional race.
And for the Cavaliers, they're shooting an excellent 56% in this quarter. Pass to Mobley. There's the triple. And he missed again. Now 1 of 5.
He just hasn't been able to get it going this period. You've seen they've made numerous attempts to try to get him going. Shows how valuable he is to this offense.
What's up with everybody?
I wonder if these offenses can keep this up.
Yeah, both teams in the zone early. Stops have been almost impossible to come by.
Money misses.
Come on, bro. Hit that green, bro.
Pass to Cunningham.
Shoot, KB cheating. Bitch, block that shit. Let's go.
Let's take a quick break. And then
Our active life all starts here with Pro Plan Store.
So apparently, the young famous rapper Post Malone's life has been cursed and turned upside down ever since he played around in this haunted house and touched his beloved bucks.
The game plan coming in. They've identified the right matchup, and the execution is there.
Detroit with the ball. And at home for the next one, it'll be Oklahoma City pulling in. That'll be the second and last game of a quick homestand. They've got Duran. Marvin Bagley is out there with Bojan Bogdanovic. Then there's Hayes, and it's Ivy in at the shooting guard position. That's the 5 on the floor for the Pistons. One thing to keep in mind with Marvin Bagley III, he's still so young.
It seems like he's been around forever, BA, but he was just 19 when he was drafted, the second overall pick in 2018. His averages are great when he plays, so I think we got to give the young fella a little bit of time.
You know, guys, I don't think too many people expected the resurgence we saw from the Cavs last season. It started with their defense.
That one falls, so he hits both of them. So in terms of their team, the Cavs have gone from one of the softest teams in the league to one of the toughest.
Well, think about this. I mean, they're a young team. They play with tremendous energy, and we see that in the way they get after it on defense.
Osman, no good. I'm sure that'll change. And the Pistons making a change here. Bayes checked in. And the Cavaliers making a change here. All right, for those just joining us, we're almost 2.5 minutes into the second. All right, let's get a report from Allie.
Well, guys, the Pistons focusing on improving their scoring. Coach Dwayne Casey said, quote, "This is an offensive league. In today's game, you've got to be able to shoot the three because you can't make enough twos to win. It's tough to defend the three, so you've got to keep that scoreboard moving." Back to you.
More spacing at a premium, Allie. Thank you. There's a killer two-hand slam.
They usually Durant is more of a finisher, but being selfless with the ball is a good thing for him in the long run.
And a foul called on the way up. So to the NBA, Smitty, one of the biggest challenges
I think gaining trust from your players is totally different from the NBA and college. Also the pace of the game, not the speed of the players, but the flow of gameplay itself. And finding the soft spot in an NBA defense is much harder than it is in college.
That's also good. So he hits both free throws. And last season, the NBA bore the passing of Hall of Famer Bob Lanier. He played his first decade with the Pistons.
A sad loss for the NBA. Now, he represented them 7 times as an All-Star. For all his greatness on the court, he'll be remembered just as much for the work he did off the court as the league's global ambassador.
Pass to Allen. Here's Wade. Here's McLemore. Sinks it from distance. And the Cavaliers lead by 8.
Defensively, you have to tighten up on him or suffer the consequences.
Here's Cunningham. Softly drops in the floater. Here's Money. He's watched by Cunningham. Money with the bucket. Give him 8. I'm not sure there's a more respected player in the league than MP. He's become the definition of a leader.
Yeah, you know, his words carry a lot of weight. Not just with his teammates, but with the league in general. When MP has something to say, people want to hear it. At 6'11", it's a short trip for Duren up to the rim, and the rookie powers it down with enthusiasm.
Money misses.
Yeah, and they've taken their foot off the gas a little. They were much more aggressive to start the game and really getting at their opponent in early foul trouble.
Hits the trifecta.
A higher three-point shooter in his position. Sadiq Bey doesn't lack confidence pulling the trigger.
Oh, and he got fouled on his way up. He'll hit.
Make him earn it at the line.
The first free throw is good.
Yeah, just knocking down every free throw. I mean, I love to see this kind of efficiency.
Okoro is checked in for the Cavaliers. Good on both.
Their focus is sharp tonight. You can see it at the free throw line, shooting almost 90% from there.
4 seconds separating the shot and game clock. To the paint. Outside for Bay. Mobley grabs the board. Here's Okoro, defended by Burks. Wade, that's good.
Great job executing the offense. That pass on time and on point.
1 second left. And the first half now in the books. The Cavaliers on top, up 8. And don't go away. After the break, we'll see you right back here for the start of quarter number 3.
Welcome, everybody. The story tonight has been a solid showing through the first half for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, just my unbiased opinion as someone who averages a double-double. If you control the glass, you control the game. That's what they're doing right now.
Hold on, so you're reminding us of your numbers? Stunning.
No, I'm just trying to tell you that 45, 22, 65 average.
And now, unfortunately, we have to talk about this team not at full strength.
The Cavaliers are at their best. Being without Darius Garland is a very disadvantage question. They count on him to keep others involved and get quality looks on his own.
You see, we got to be creative, mix it up. I imagine coaches feeling stressed right now.
And that's it for halftime. Thank you for joining us. We send you back to Brian Anderson for the start of the third quarter.
Culture that is obsessed with death, drugs, and sex. Period. The industry's obsessed with it. Those record executives, they're not dying because they don't push this culture on their own people. They're encouraging you to push it on yours, and they're paying you handsomely to do it.
Well, for those just tuning in, thanks for being with us. Second half of this game is still to play.
Stand up and challenge and be the example. Make music about the culture you want to see. Don't just
Here's
make those
Cunningham.
videos. Don't be sad. Don't rest in peace. None of that stuff.
Setting the floor for the Cavaliers. Okoro at the 3 with Mobley at the 4. Karis LeVert is out there with Raul Neto. And it's Allen in at the 5 down low.
Their strong work ethic has been evident on the glass, really getting after it and being physical.
As impressive as the numbers were for Mobley as a rookie, the consistency stood out the most for him.
Yeah, no question, B.A. Mobley shows up and makes an impact every night. He just finds ways to help the team even when the shots aren't there. He's the type of player that fits with any system. He is ferocious on alley-oops. With his good hands and wingspan, Duren makes for an easy target on the line.
Pass to Okoro. Over to the left wing.
More rappers like this are going to die.
Oh, and makes it with the kiss. Mobley's got 9.
It's nice to see they're not settling for three-pointers. These guys are putting in the work inside.